Hey guys, it's Avengel. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're taking a look at Carenado's brand new B55 Beechcraft Baron. Now the Baron, of course, is a light twin piston, originally designed and produced by Beechcraft. We'll go and take a look around in first person whilst we do this. And it's a low-wing monoplane designed from the Traveller that Beech originally made, and it stays in production to this day. Now, its original kind of predecessor, like we mentioned, was the Beech 95 Traveller, and it had the fuselage of the Bonanza, tail surfaces from the Mentor, a few other bits and pieces there, but it replaced the Debonair. Or, sorry, replaced with that of the Debonair, I should say. It changed around a little bit and the nacelles got streamlined, but eventually we got to the Baron. Now, the Baron's still in production. There's been over 7,000 of them built, and a B55 is generally powered by a pair of Continental IO 470s. I love how that's flapping in the wind. Although, does it stay flapping constantly? Because that's probably going to get a little annoying. Okay. As I mentioned, those are 260 horsepower engines. She has a max speed of about 205 knots, cruising around 180, stalls at 73, and she has a range of 940 nautical miles, which is pretty good, to be fair. We've got our usual exterior features here, which is nice to have. Do we have anything? No, we do have... Oh, yeah, we can open the baggage door. Nice. Okay. So this being a native 24 feature, or aircraft, I should say, it does mean we have all those various bits and bobs. Can we get to the oil? We cannot. Okay, looking good though otherwise. Of course, got the covers over the top of the aircraft. Now, we will be able to, of course, if I can get close enough to this to let me. Yep. Play with the elevator. And the rudder. We can wiggle that around. I love these walk-around features in 24. They make the world of difference to me. If you're getting in there, you're definitely a child. Because it's quite small. There we go. Now, I believe those are from the Orbex scenery here. We're at Concrete Municipal. I'll link to it, of course. This is one of Orbex's Addon airports. It'll be nice to fly from here today. Let's hop on in, shall we? So we can pop the door open. Oh, we can climb on in. Okay. So inside, of course, it's standard layout, of course. I already showed you the marketplace sheet and page from the Baron here. We've got loads of liveries, which are fantastic. And those look pretty damn good. As always. Now, one model. But I do like the fact we have the Aspen Avionics set up here in the cockpit. It's not full steam, it's not full glass. So it's a fairly modern aircraft, but it's not too modern either, because we already have a Baron with a G1000. I would hate for there to be a second one. Kudos to Carenado for doing something different here. And of course, they used to do a Baron, but to have a B55 is quite nice, because it's not the latest version of B58. So it's quite nice to have this around. So I actually quite like this. Now, let's get ourselves started up, shall we? Go down here to our electronics, which I think are right there. They are. Okay. Now, we'll get our engine started here, which means we need to get our mixture in. Props and our throttle's cracked there. Make sure our parking brake is on. It's down here. Now, we should have tablet stuff here. And, of course, we have an app for Carenado on here with... Oh, that is nice! If you don't want the analog, you don't want to use the actual electronic display, you can have the analog one in. That is fantastic. I did not expect that. I really like that. Fantastic. So we've got the options for the other things as well. Again, I hate having this many apps from them, because as much as I like the aircraft, look at how many I've got here that is permanently on my screen. Now our checklist for before start engine. Of course, parking brake cowl flaps. The Baron, I believe our cowl flaps are down here. They are. And they're both open down there. Fantastic. Circuit breakers are all pushed in. Now the circuit breakers on this one do function, at least in so much as you can click them. So that's cool there. The weather radar down there as well. Battery on, alternator on. Those are all good to go. Engine starting. So throttle cropped. Mixture rich. Aux fuel pumps on 3 to 5 seconds. Actually, that's a good point. My fuel tank selected. My fuel tanks were not selected, so left wing, there we go. So there's no point putting the fuel pumps on without. Notice the same sound whether it's full or empty there. Now, the fuel pump would sound different if there's fuel flowing or versus not. Maxed on. Nice panel vibration. Now, this features Carenado's real experience. Now, I wasn't quite familiar enough with it when it came out for the 210 to truly appreciate real experience. Now, it's kind of cool. You've got some little baby vibration kind of effects. I can't wait till we can download everything when Sim Update 3 actually launches into the sim properly, because I'm fed up with things going blur as they load in. Increasing sound volume, good. But one thing I would definitely like to see, of course, is the ability for us to actually have more wear and tear on aircraft. Now, this picks up mud and dirt, but it also picks up bug splats on the windshield, which you'll see once we get flying. Now, I'm trying to work out where the avionics switch is in this one, because it's probably going to be on here. Where are you at? Oh, you're right there in front of me, like an idiot. Fantastic. Let's turn that on. Interesting. That this does not wish to power on. So that's that unit up and running, but this one does... Oh, hold. It does not appear to hold. So I did hold the power switch there. And nothing came on. Very interesting. Okay. All warnings and things are on and operational. Cool. As everything else is where it's meant to be. So, again, Carenado don't come with manuals. So when you're finding out these things for yourself, you're going to find them out for yourself. Now, obviously, this is not seeming to power on. Okay, I will try clicking every other button we have here. I've never used one of these devices before, so I'm a little surprised that it's not working. Now, it could be a compatibility issue with my hardware avionics switch, but it doesn't tend to cause any issues for other aircraft, so I will try one thing that I'm considering here, which is going to our apps page, the Baron, deactivating that, and then reactivating it, and it's come on. Fantastic. So it was an issue caused possibly by it being turned on and off, which is interesting to find out. And now it's showing us... Okay, now it's come online. Cool. So that was just a bug with that. So nice that we troubleshooted that whilst we were there. Ready to trim an elevator trim down there. Now, it's going to be a very quick little flight today. We're going to head to Darrington Municipal, which is just down the valley. So we'll get ourselves going without much further ado, and get ourselves moving, because you guys, I'm sure, would love to actually go somewhere rather than do a run around the pattern. And it's a quick little aeroplane, so it shouldn't take us long at all. We'll go exterior for sounds first of all. They talk about it being a custom HQ sound set. I need to put the brakes on here because we are really pulling there. It sounds okay. It doesn't sound anything special, but it doesn't sound bad either. Now, I like beach aircraft, but I've always liked the Baron particularly. I've missed having one with a steam cockpit. Even with this, the Aspen system, I really like the Aspen. I think that's a nice feature to actually have there in terms of a modern, assistance. It definitely makes it feel more like an aircraft that's lived in. And having the options like this in Carenado, I think, are fantastic. Now, this is £24, or dollar equivalent, possibly because of that additional avionics options in there. But it's one of the most expensive ones so far, typically around £20 for their individual releases. So this is more, but like I said, we do get something more with that, and that is the avionics in this aircraft, which is quite cool to see them have something a bit more adventurous. The fact that that is actually an option to me blows my mind, because we don't typically get this level of customizability or option from Carenado. This, combined with their real experience, to me, is very exciting in that regard. Typical Baron gear up on the mains, same with the Bonanzas. Nose sweeps up. Okay. Flaps coming in. She's not quite Captain Whiskers, but she'll do. Let's pull the power smudge here. Pull our props back. Now, the Baron has good speed, and it has good cross-country capability. And whilst we don't have any systems depth in this aircraft, of course, and that's why it's called Concrete Municipal down there. By the way, did you know that that right there is a high school, as is that bit. So there's a high school at the airport. Not specifically aviation related, but it's a high school there. And that's why it's called Concrete Municipal. The big grain silo. Down there. We'll quickly go down to here, then we'll go to our flight planner. And where's Darrington? It's going to be down here. That's the Badger. One. Oh, where are we? You think I'd be more organised when I'm doing reviews, but no. Absolutely not. I refuse to be organised. 1 Sierra 2. Should be fairly easy to stick in here. It's not a 750 unit, which would be lovely, of course. But we have to make do with what we've got there. Yeah, cycle this down here, nice and easy. We can get turning down the valley there. It's not super far away. 1 Sierra. Let's go back past here. Helps to give us a better idea of everything working as well, which is quite nice. And I've managed to flip that up. 1. Why has it gone to F? I hate you and everything you stand for. That is weird, because it doesn't typically do that. I've never seen this behave this way before. And this is the same working title unit, or it should be. Because it goes to F. That is so weird. Let's clear that out. Hit direct to. No, I don't want it planned. There is every chance I've screwed that up myself. In fact, I probably have. I'm sure it'll be more than fine. It's only right there. We're not far away at all. And this Baron is very quick. So we'll just fly this by eye. So we come over here, follow the valley ridge roughly around to the side, and we should be good to go. Now, down here on the Aspen unit we have, let's see what's actually workable for us. We've got the menu down, options back there, sorry, which are our various options here for TPS. We've got radar altimeter. Enable that actually. Autocourse and arc mode for HSI and apparently only HSI. So that's okay. That's the way we need to go. Now typically these are clickable and draggable rather than being whole solid things. It's fantastic when you can't, it goes transparent when you click it. That makes things much more difficult. She feels a bit more nimble than the B58. Which I do kind of like, although they are ostensibly very similar aircraft, of course. Although the bigger Baron is slightly larger. Now, what is the difference, I hear you ask, for those of you who are curious, of course. The Baron 58 was introduced in 1969. I'll just stop this while I'm reading from a screen. It was developed from the 55. It has an increased gross weight of up to 5,400 pounds, and it's fitted with either IO 520s or 550s at 300 horsepower. Output. That can cruise up to 200 knots, so much, much quicker, and it can do it at higher altitudes. Biggest change was stretching the fuselage by 10 inches, which gives you more room, and it gives you double rear fuselage doors, which is a lot like the A36. So it's like taking a V35 and turning it into a G36 or an A36. So it's stretched and it's got more power. So this is smaller. It is more compact in that regard, so it's much more like flying essentially a twin-engine Bonanza, which is arguably what the Baron really is. This is the one thing with head tracking, it messes up your angles on various things when you want to see them, but it does give us a very nimble little aircraft because it's not underpowered. In fact, for its size and performance, it's overpowered. So it makes for a very fun twin, and I think it's the curviest and cutest looking one of the beach ones, because it has a really nice smooth shape. Slightly more pointy nose. The prop discs look okay. I'll give them that. That's the side view exactly where you've got that extra width you can see. They don't look terrible at all. We'll pull our cowl flaps in closed for now. We're not too high up. In fact, our destination is just over there, so it should be nice and quick for us. That's one thing I need to turn off occasionally. Sometimes like having the tooltips on there, it's helpful for me when I'm doing reviews, but it sometimes just gets in the way. Now the whole fuel calculator / range indicator down here does function, but they've got this in a couple of other aircraft they've done. Our flap indicators are right here, and our prop sync is there. So we should be coming around the corner now to our destination here. Nice quick little flight. We'll just quickly, in fact, test the autopilot in that regard. So we'll close the menu. Now, scrolling around this one to try and get it to line up is a little bit harder than some aircraft I've done this with, because you can normally click and drag it, it moves it quite far, but on this it's a little bit more sluggish. Okay, so we'll come down here and we're going to set, what are we at right now? We're about 4,200, so we'll go for 4,300, autopilot on, heading select, and altitude. And then we'll disable altitude and we'll put into arm. And we'll give it a nudge on the vertical speed. And we should be good. Some increase in attitude there, just what we needed. So we'll take this down to 5,000 feet. No, we'll make it 4.5. 4,500. Just so we know it actually levels off on its own. It should do as the stock autopilot functionality. So whilst we're on autopilot, we'll cycle back in here. So of course we'd have two doors, which we don't have here. Of course we have the child door there, which unless you are a kid, look at the legroom here, not a lot. You could be fine if you're an adult sitting back here, probably-ish. This is general aviation, nothing snazzy. Okay. Everything's behaving just fine as we expected there. So disable that, and we'll bring her round. Yes, 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 yes. Quiet, quiet, quiet. Check up on this. Yeah, we're dead ahead of us right now. In fact, if I look down there, that's the Badger right here. So, yeah, she's really, really nimble on the roll. That's actually surprising for me. I wonder if it can do this. Oh, quite well. I don't know the aerobatic capabilities of a Baron, but we're going to test them out right now. So I'm feeling a little spicy. Okay, I'm going to pull the speed back there. We're going over the top in a twin. Now, that's not impossible. Beech 18s, notably quite capable of lots of aerobatic manoeuvres. But we can go all the way over that. It's not bad at all. Now, next might be a little bit unsafe, so we'll find out. We'll go to the vertical. It feels like it pitches and rolls way too fast. This shouldn't be a twin. Ooh. Oh, hello. Yeah, let's pull the nose up here, nice and gentle. I think we've learned a valuable lesson that this is probably not something this aircraft should be capable of. So there is that. If you are curious, probably not the most realistic of manoeuvres there. Now I pull us down here, so we'll come back around. We'll cross over midfield and we'll set up for our downwind to base to landing. We should be good. So pull that speed back in. Slap the gear down. Let our nose drop a little bit more here. Now she's burning speed off fairly quickly, so we'll just give her a single notch of flaps first. Props are forward, mixtures forward. We are configured. Cowls are closed currently. Temperatures are good. She's slowing, but doesn't feel particularly bad about it. A little power here. She does feel very nimble. Very nimble. The fact I'm attempting aerobatics in a twin, a GA twin, is quite, it's quite something. I'll give it that. So we're rather slow here. Okay. This is actually a bit tight. I'm rather too close to the runway. So rather than do a traditional base to final, I'm going to make it a 180 turn in because I'm a little bit too close. I should have been further out. Power's back. Full flaps. Sink her down. Oh, she's sinking. But what is she sinking about? That's the question. Oh no, we can just about make a base to final here. It's going to be pretty much immediately turning final now. Power on. Okay. Ooh. Okay, hold her in nicely. Little floaty, that's my fault because I was a little bit steep on my approach. And this is quite a narrow runway. Flaps coming in. Probably a little bit early for me to be pulling the flaps, but we're okay, I think. Just a bit of dirt. I'll wait till we get to the end here and taxi back. Okay. So textures and modelling is typical Carenado quality. That I can't really fault. The flight model feels too excitable. Now, she is a smaller aircraft and she's light right now. With a lot of power on this aircraft, so it's not implausible. And as I said, the Beech 18 is incredibly capable of aerobatics. But I've never flown a Baron that felt like this. It's very spirited and very full of life. But she is arguably quite a small aircraft for this much power, so it shouldn't be implausible, but it feels like it's too snappy. Too much roll, too much pitch attitude. She feels very lively. Arguably the T6 Texan felt stiffer than this, with the realism mod in there. So take from that what you will. And here we are. Okay. I'll link both these airports, by the way, in the description. They are Orbex airports. Fantastic. Parking brake on. I can see you. There we are. We'll hop on out. There we are. Well, now we did a short flight for a particular reason because I wanted to see if we could see. I don't think it was long enough, unfortunately. But you'll typically get dirt and debris coming up onto the gear areas, onto leading edges, and we've got some spots of dirt and bugs. So that is one thing. One thing I noticed that is unfortunately unfair is there's no difference in altitude. So I've been flying the 210 up the California coast from San Diego all the way to Alaska, and I get bugs every flight, no matter how high I fly, which is a bit of a problem. I'll just go back inside to look at the windshield here. No, perfectly clear. Maybe they adjusted it on this version, but I noticed you pick up bugs very fast, and they're there no matter the altitude. Now, there are technically metrics, I know this for a fact because I've asked, in the actual Sims coding to allow you to dictate things like how much bug splatter you'd take at different altitudes. That's in the code. You can use that as a metric and program that. Carenado seems to choose yes for all altitudes, so you'd be flying at 30,000 feet in an airliner and pick up a load of bugs. It'd be quite weird. You wouldn't, just in case you're curious. But it's nice to see a build-up of stuff. It's just annoying when, no matter the altitude you're at, you're still picking up bug strikes on the windshield when you're not dusting the crops. Overall, very fun, very fast, nimble, fun GA twin. Do you want something high systems depth? Look at the Dukes from Black Square. Do you want something that's just fun? This is fantastic. It's a great option and looks really pretty. It's Carenado. You get what you pay for. And I do like the Aspen avionics in there. Rather nice. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.